Question 21. Here is a scale drawing of a rectangular garden A, B, C, D, where 1 centimetre represents 1 metre. Jane wants to plant a tree in the garden at least 5 metres from point C, nearer to AB than to AD, and less than 3 metres from DC. On the diagram, shade the region where Jane can plant the tree. So in this, we're going to have to use some construction to work out the areas where she cannot plant the tree. The first part says at least 5 metres from point C. Well, 5 metres on this diagram is going to be represented by 5 centimetres. So it could be 5 centimetres over the left, it could be 5 centimetres up, it could be 5 centimetres diagonally, and what that does is create a curve. So to demonstrate that, we use a compass. We set the distance of the radius of our circle to be the distance that we're trying to find, in this case 5 metres. Put the point on C where it begins, and therefore if we draw a 5 centimetre circle from point C, we're going to find everywhere that is exactly 5 metres away on that garden. So anywhere inside this circle is no good. So I'm just going to represent that with a little cross to remind ourselves we don't want to be inside that circle. Next question says to be nearer AB than AD. So we want to be between AB and AD. So it's got to be closer to this top line than it is to the bottom line. Well, this was a little bit tricky, this one, and again we're going to need a compass. What we're going to do, I'm going to switch to grey so we can see this, is to construct what's called a bisector. We're going to cut this angle in half. And to do that, we draw an arc which goes of any length and cuts the line in 2 places. From this, the point that it cuts the side of the line, we need to draw another arc, and this time the arc has to cross one made from the other point as well. Where these 2 lines cross here, that is exactly halfway between each of these lines, and therefore we can draw a construction line from point A through this point there. And what that's done is completely bisect or cut in half the angle created between B, A and D. So now it's exactly 45 degrees. Anything on this top half is going to be closer to line A, B. So again, we don't want anything that's in this part of the diagram. Please. So nothing over on this part. Now the final rule said must be less than 3 metres from DC. So this is a point where you can just use your ruler to measure 3 metres, or in our case 3 centimetres, across from the line DC. So DC is the line created between points D and C. Just a couple of points to make sure that we've made our measurements. Put the ruler across and draw our construction line right across to show all the points which are 3 metres from DC. Therefore, we have to be less than 3 metres, which means we can't use this top half. We can't do anything inside the circle or anything on the left of this diagonal line. Therefore, the section that we can shade in is this bit, which has not been bound by our other construction lines. This section here is called a region, and it's the region that matches all 3 of the rules that we were given in the question. The accuracy of your construction lines needs to be within 2 millimeters, but your shading doesn't matter so much as long as you've made it quite clear what it is that you're trying to shade in. But if you go outside the lines like I did, just rub out your answers, because all of this should be done.